Loving God, let us listen to what you have to say to us in our hearts with boldness and confidence, knowing that you are love and you love us so much that we need not to fear anything you have to say. And so God, may you speak through me, or if necessary, despite me. Amen.
Amen.
I love these little stories, like the wedding at Cana, these little cameos of what life with Jesus was like, you know, because there's drama and there's humour in it, and also this is something Jesus wasn't expecting. This wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't like, I'm going to do this and then people will notice and they will know this wonderful thing about God. He just, you know, there was the situation and then he dealt with it in the way only Jesus could. So you've got this wedding. It's a wedding feast. We don't know whose wedding. Presumably, they're relatively close to Jesus and the family because Mary's in their confidence and knows that they've run out of wine, which isn't something they're going to be shouting to the rooftops, seeing as it's so humiliatingly embarrassing. Also, she's able to give instructions to the servers at tables and they listen to her, so she feels close to these people. She cares about the fact that this shocking situation's occurred, totally socially, never mind awkward, really horrible situation. It's the wedding feast, they're out of wine. I mean, when the bar runs dry at your wedding and it was you planning it, you're not going to feel good, are you? It's not good. And it was worse then. It was a real no-no. And also it tells us something about Mary, I think. You know, first, she's the sort of person someone felt okay to come and say that this thing's happened. Mary, the wine's running out. What are you going to do? Secondly, for whatever reason, we don't know why, she is absolutely confident that Jesus can and will do something about this. I don't know if he's been performing little domestic miracles quietly in the background, you know, or because it says it's the first of his signs, but, you know, maybe he's done little quiet miracles at home before now. I don't know, but she knows. And so she wants to do something like that. She goes to Jesus, and Jesus is like, Mom, what do you want me to do? You know it's not my time yet. But, you know, she's confident. He's not going to let them down. He doesn't. So it's like, okay, I'm going to deal with this, deal with it my way, reasonably quietly, because it's not actually time to stick my head above the parapet and let the Pharisees shoot it off yet. And he gets them to fill up these jars, and 15 to 25 gallons, was it? 6 jars? This is not a couple of bottles we're talking about. This is a lot of wine. He doesn't do it by halves. And it's the best wine, apparently. It's this fabulous wine that I'm not sure how much people are appreciating it, since apparently they're already drunk. But the caterer appreciates it. He thinks it's great. So he creates this wonderful wine and absolutely gallons and gallons of the stuff. And I like the fact this isn't a life and death situation. Okay, it's important, but it's not a cure. It's not saving someone's life or livelihood as such. It's not a statement about forgiveness or freedom from the law. It's not done in the synagogue or a temple. It's not the feeding of the 5,000. It's wine for a party. A party who already had a bit to drink. Because, you know, despite the attitude of the church across large amounts of time, Jesus liked life and the pleasures of being a flesh and blood human being. And it says in Luke, you know, the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you said, look, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is justified by all her children. You know, John the Baptist, the teetotaler, and the Son of Man liking a good party. Jesus wasn't shy of living and enjoying living and enjoying what the world had to offer. Jesus isn't into austerity. You know, Jesus likes a wedding, a feast. Luke goes straight from that saying about the coming, eating and drinking to the story of the woman who pours the whole jar of perfume over Jesus' feet. It's at the end of chapter 7, beginning of chapter 8 in Luke. And again, this totally profligate generosity, pouring out this expensive perfume, and the disciples are like, you know, that wasn't the most practical use of resources. And Jesus was like, never mind. She poured out everything she had for love. That is what I'm about. Jesus isn't austere. Jesus is generous. And Jesus understands that God is generous. Lavishly, extravagantly generous. Jesus thinks that this wine is worth a miracle, even if he is putting his hand out before his time. Jesus does not think that these people who've, you know, been profligate and organised a party beyond their means, or haven't organised it properly, should learn from their mistakes by their public humiliation or sanctions. He doesn't believe in making people dependent by giving them something. Oh, he thinks that someone in need, and not even that much need, they'd had a drink, deserved a party. He doesn't think that people need to get themselves sorted out before he showers them with gifts. He doesn't think that people need to show willingness to work before giving them healing, or food, or treating them with dignity. Jesus would totally treat someone who's struggling with their bills to a new coat or a holiday. And possibly help them with the bills as well. But that's not the point. He understands that life is for living and for being generous. God is generous. If God didn't count the cost of being crucified before risking being human, God isn't going to dole out miserly little portions of the rest of God's gifts. And God doesn't withdraw generosity just because we don't use God's gifts quite as wisely as we might have done. Thank goodness. Or I wouldn't have much left. I can't say I've made the best use of every gift that God's given me, but God keeps giving. Even the ones that I haven't used because I was afraid, or the ones that I've used badly because I was foolish, God just keeps giving. Despite humanity's dreadful track record, God still enjoys our enjoyment. Our dancing and singing and our feasting and our relationships and our jokes and our sexuality and our sports and our costumes and our stories and our art and our music. And it doesn't matter whether it's religious or secular. God enjoys it. God enjoys the fact that we're enjoying ourselves. If God doesn't enjoy a good Sound of Music singing along, I'd be very surprised. Or a pint in the pub with a mate and the rugby on. Or any of the billions of pleasures of being alive. I think God takes delight in our enjoyment of every single one of them, not just in a hymn on a Sunday. For one thing, somewhere when they were creating the canon, they remembered to leave the Song of Songs in the Bible. And that's got things like, my love is a sachet of myrrh lying between my breasts. Or, as an apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my love a young man. In his delightful shade I sit, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. You're not telling me that God doesn't take delight in our delight in our bodies. No, God, it seems, is in favour of wine and sex and dancing and coats of many colours and kisses and rainbows and laughter and foolishness and joy for all God's children, old and young, rich and poor, all genders, all colours, all abilities, all histories. God is generous and joyful and just a bit extravagant. And are we trying to be a bit more like God? Amen.